Uh-oh.
All right, all good.
All right. Put my eyes in so I could see. All right. You have any communications, Deb?
No.
Public communications, no. Approval of the minutes of May 28th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of May 28th.
Second it.
Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Sidewalk minutes of June 9th.
You want to do it, Barb? We'll take turns.
What
make-
did you say?
I'll make a motion.
Minutes of June 9th.
I'll make a
Oh,
motion.
okay, I
No,
nominate, I move that we accept the
okay.
minutes for
Second.
the sidewalk.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, good. One more. June 11th minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from June 11th.
Second it.
Right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Good. All right. Maple Glen subdivision, 47 Briar Hill Road.
So I just want to give you a little background on
Mhm.
this one. This is a 2006 subdivision. You approved a wetland permit before the subdivision approval, right? So these lots exist, okay? However, the wetland permit has expired, and I will let Kurt go ahead and present the
Mhm.
plan to you.
So we start over. It's not like a.
This is a new permit, but just keep
Yeah.
in mind, these lots are
Right.
lots of record and they do exist based on the permit that you granted in 2006.
Just tell us where Maple Glen is.
That's his job. There we go.
Okay.
Mm.
So you guys can see that, hopefully it's clear in there, fantastic. For the record, Kurt Procharena, professional engineer with the Railroad Engineering Associates, 15 Thames Street, Groton, Connecticut. Representing the applicant, Benaha Farm LLC for the Maple Glen subdivision. So I have 4 plans that I will show, and I apologize because of the way the plan sets are put together. The subdivision is really shown on 2 plans, but there's different elements shown, so there's 4 plans. So quick overview, north is to the top of all the sheets. And I'll quickly point out the entire subdivision. It's 14 lots. Gunjiwant Road, Briar Hill Road. Lot 1 is on Gunjiwant. And then it goes up to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 off of Briar Hill. Pleasant Valley Road. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14
Holy smokes.
off of Pleasant Valley Road. And to orient further, Catlapper Road is down here, close in the map, but
What did you just say?
that's,
Catalpa.
that's all.
It's a Navy road, Navy Hazy Road.
Okay.
Mm.
Yes.
There you go, the,
No access from that road to the subdivision. These lots are all off of Pleasant Valley Road North. Not all 14 lots are within the upland review area, and I'll walk through the lots that are. The wetland boundary is highlighted in blue, flagged by James Cowan. He's here tonight if you have questions. The 100-foot buffer, 100-foot upland review area highlighted in yellow. So as you can notice, some of the lots, as an example, lot 1, the clearing limit is at the 100-foot review area, no other activities in the wetland. Lot 2, 5, 6, no activity. 3, 4, and 7, the lots themselves are within the 100-foot upland review area, but there is no proposed activity for development of the lots within the upland review area. That includes the lots themselves, clearing, driveways, construction of the house. And that also includes septic systems, which are highlighted in blue here. And again, sorry, it's not a separate plan, it's just the way the plan says.
Mm.
So for those lots, no activity relative to building is proposed in the public review area. Continuing on. Lot 8 and 9. No activities, the lots are 100% outside of the 100-foot upland review area. Lot 10, similar situation where a portion of the lot is, but no activity for development of that lot is in the upland review area. Lot 11, we have grading. A portion of the house and the attached garage. And the septic system leach field is within the 100-foot area, lot 11. Lot 12. Again, portion of the lot is within the area, but the limit of clearing is by design at the edge of the 100-foot area, so no activities inside the 100-foot. Lot 13, this is the 100-foot review area. We have a portion of the house, some of the site grading, and see here, very minor grading, very minor on this lot. And then a portion of the septic system's leaching area is within that area. Lot 14, you can see the wetlands fairly close here. 50 feet to the primary septic system leaching field from the edge of the wetland itself. You can see the house partially within the area. Some of the site grading. Up closer to Pleasant Valley Road North is within the area. On this particular lot, there is also an upland planting area. Enhanced plantings because it is closer to the wetland. Basically taking out some invasive species and other things like that and replanting it. And if you'd like more information on that, Jim can address that in greater detail, but that's an enhancement by design because this lot is a little bit closer to the wetland. Zero activity in the wetland. The total disturbance within the 100-foot upland review area is 0.483 acres. And that's what I described, some of that clearing, some of the grading, and then installation of those leach fields. So very, very minor activity inside the 100-foot.
Is that of the whole development or just that one
Yeah.
lot?
That's the entire development.
Okay,
Yes, or combined, all of the lots.
yeah.
It's 0.483, so pretty small, pretty small. The subdivision was designed, of course, with access to the road. To minimize disturbance to the wetlands and to minimize the amount of steep slopes and those kinds of things. Always try to do that, which benefits us during construction. Steep slopes obviously cause problems and those kinds of things, so. It's been designed to minimize intrusion into steep areas. So overall, very minimal disturbance to the regulated areas. And with that, glad to answer any questions you may have.
These are on wells or not?
They will be on public water.
About water. But septic.
That's correct.
So during your first review of this project, lot 14 was the one that was the most carefully
Yeah.
scrutinized. And at that time, you felt that having the house down on the flatter area with the plantings was more appropriate than pushing it up on the really steep rocky slope. I think we sidewalked it as a matter of fact.
Yeah,
Yep, that's one of the reasons that it's kind of down there because of that. It gets very, very difficult. Driveway gets steep and those.
That plus soils are good soils are hard to come by on this site. And so that's why the septic systems are shown where they are.
yeah, I think I remember this.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
lots of ledge out.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Ledge light will let them put the septic within 50 feet.
These do have test pits that were reviewed by Ledge Light and found acceptable.
Shown. So yes. I'll move by level.
Other questions?
It looks like the septic system is outside the yellow line on the flip side. Oh, it's right there. Oh,
Yeah, it's kinda-
There's something
it's
else down there. Okay. I
Oh,
think
that
that's-
could be the reserve.
Oh, it's what you're writing. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the reserve.
Part of the reserve is in here, yeah, but the primary is on this one, yes.
And it's all rock as you go up.
Yeah, rock and steep.
Yeah.
Hmm. Have you walked this? Have we walked this?
Long time.
Long
Yeah,
time ago. I
yeah,
would probably like to
2006,
see it again.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Me too.
And Hannah probably would like to.
These lots are cleared or not?
No, they are not.
Hmm.
Well, there's only about 3 that we need to really look at.
Right.
Yeah, the
Especially that
number
one.
11 and then
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
14. Yeah.
They could put the house higher up, but it'd be a real job to get
Mm.
it there.
Still,
As I remember, it's fairly steep
It
there.
is.
Hmm.
How about further over? In the lot, that's a big lot.
Yeah. It's all steep up here, and because the wetland line is sort of parallel, it wouldn't move us away from the wetland. And then we start getting into issues with where the leach field needs to be located. So that's really the optimal location. Additionally, putting in the driveway. We're trying to minimize clearing at the toe, and again, because it's
Mhm.
close to the wetland, really trying to minimize disturbance of those slopes. To avoid problems with runoff heading towards those wetlands.
Of course, there's a way to control that.
Yes,
Expensive, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a great big lot. Why can't the house be back there?
theoretically it could, but we would have to look at,
Does it level out again? We didn't go that far back.
Mm-mm.
not really, this,
Mm-mm.
this continues to climb up pretty dramatically to, this is all the way up to elevation 140 up here, so it's a pretty significant change in elevation. You're down here at 85, so that's a dramatic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is.
Change.
Yeah.
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 And we could also run into issues with the driveway because we're limited to the slopes.
Yeah.
And then if we start cutting into the side of the slope, we make matters worse if we try to cut in and then we're fighting the slope here.
Yeah.
And we end up with a massive rock removal operation, which we're trying to avoid
Right.
disturbing large areas,
Hmm.
vegetated, you know. To
Yeah.
go in there and tear it apart. We figured this was the lesser impact rather than destroying the
As
slope.
I remember, it was bare rock down here,
Yeah, there's significant outcroppings.
and then it's more tree as you go up.
Oh,
It's a lot of ledge outcrop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. It's
How-
what that's,
How easy is it to walk in there?
um, not.
Not so
Not very, I will say that, not very.
Well,
mean,
maybe
you
I
can get
don't
onto
want
the
to say,
property.
well,
You can get onto the property, I think, but I think
Yeah.
climbing up onto the rocks would be.
oh, yeah, I wouldn't maybe need to do that, but.
Right, let's look at the other lots.
Yeah.
1 and I forget the number of the other one.
Houses in it, right here, or right at the edge of it.
Yeah,
Yep, so we're outside of on one, there's no activity inside the 100 foot.
You don't even have machinery going behind the house?
No,
Yeah, how you
well,
do-
well, it could, but it would be between the house and the edge of clearing. So the edge of clearing, that is the limit to what they will do, they would not move beyond that edge of clearing. Because by design, we don't want to destroy mature trees and those kinds of things. Even from an economic standpoint, people want that at the edge of their yard, so, during the development process, it's very important to preserve those. And because it's residential construction, once the lot is cleared and graded, there's no lot. At the most, it would be a bobcat, which can easily fit. You know, between the house and the clearing.
what should prevent the house owner from mowing it all down?
it's all trees and those kinds of things, so they'd be mowing in the middle of the woods with rocks, trees, and so.
We could also limit that in whatever,
Well, I mean, anything within the upland review area would require a permit.
yeah.
You do work without a permit, you have enforcement. action.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, other questions?
No,
All right. You want to classify this?
oh, what about the other one? It's a third one that was,
Is there a third one?
yeah. Where the line goes right through it.
I mean, that's
Wasn't
this
it?
one. And that one.
14 and 1, and then there was another one. this-
These are the only, there's no activity in the area, but the lot itself
Hmm.
is within it, and then these are 100% out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just the back end of the lot.
correct.
Well, I'll make a motion to classify it as a minor.
Second it.
Discussion, everybody agree? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right. No public hearing. You're glad to hear that.
So okay, so at this point, if you want to, you can take action on it because it was received before the last meeting, so the 14 days are up. So that's why I proposed a motion for you if you want to take
Yeah, we
action
can
on
do
it tonight.
that. Yeah, I don't see any changes that are gonna happen.
Okay,
No, I
so
don't think so.
I have some copies for you and I mean, you'll see what the condition that I've suggested is that the lots that have work very close or within the upland review area be reviewed by our department before a building permit is issued to make sure that the development is consistent with the permit that you're issuing.
Who's reading tonight?
I'll go ahead. Make a motion to approve the Maple Glen subdivision for grading within the upland review area of the house, driveway and septic system. This permit is subject to the 5 standard conditions and the following modifications. 1, the building permit plan for lots 11, 12, 13, and 14 shall be reviewed by planning and development staff for compliance with this permit prior to issuance.
Second,
Second it.
discussion? You ready? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? All right. You can keep that if you want.
Or you can recycle it on your way out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm.
All right. You had nothing new after that.
No new applications, that's correct. Get that.
All right, propane distribution
Yeah.
facility, 1387 Gold Star Highway. You know where this is? On Gold Star Highway.
Mhm.
It's across the street.
Yeah, you certainly wouldn't notice it.
Yeah, it's set back enough. Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's,
mean, I've driven by that site a
Me-
1,000 times. I couldn't have told you that house was there.
No.
Oh, I could have.
yeah,
I remember.
same
the-
for me.
It's pretty much blasted flat. Okay,
Right on 184.
Yeah, just for-
Slightly
just for
uphill.
reference, This is the street, this is the existing house he's talking about back here, so. It is set back away from the street, sure.
Hmm.
All right,
So, okay, good evening, my name is Tim Griffin, civil engineer with Lorero Engineering Associates. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, 1387 Gold Star Highway. I'm also accompanied by Kurt, my colleague who you just heard from,
Mm-hmm.
as well as David Gable, with the applicant. And we're here seeking your approval of a new propane distribution facility at 1387 Gold Star Highway. Just for the record, we have had pre-application meetings with this, town staff. As well as Groton Utilities, and we'll be working with them, throughout the process and making sure we comply with all their requirements. So just to start out, this is the existing conditions plan. Just some things of note that are relevant to this meeting here. The existing parcel is 2.8 acres. As previously mentioned, there's an existing small building on the property. As well as a paved, parking area that's in various states of disrepair. Miscellaneous concrete pads, as well as some lawn areas. Gravel areas and some vegetation, which is invasive vegetation, kind of second growth vegetation. That's filled in beyond previous limits of cleared. As noted on the plan here, we do have wetlands on both sides of the property, the eastern and western perimeter. And these wetlands are associated with the Hatching House Brook, which has a 200-foot upper review area. And as depicted in future drawings here, you're gonna see that encompasses the entire site, just due to the site geometry. Another thing of note is there is an existing 24-inch corrugated metal culvert. That basically connects the eastern wetlands to the western. We're gonna be leaving that in place, and we'll show later how we demonstrated that during our drainage calculations, making sure no impacts to that. And another note of this with the Hatching House Brook, the project's in the WPRD, which is the Water Protection District. So we had to comply with those requirements as well, which are more stringent than the typical zoning regulations. And we'll also get into that later, how we adjust that. So this first figure is just intended to give a visual depiction of some of the constraints and some of the conditions that are going on here in regards to the wetlands. And just to kind of make things pop out more legible. The flagged wetlands are this lighter blue, cyan color. You can see it on the screen as well. The upland review area is this dashed magenta line. So as you can see from this set of wetlands back 200 feet overlaps with the 200-foot from here. So basically, because the site is less than 400 feet wide, the entire site is overlapping within the upland review area. We do also indicate on the drawing, basically the limits of disturbance, which is in red. This is going to be the new limits of disturbance associated with the project. And that's overall disturbance, right? So that's your grading limits, that's your E&S controls, everything like that. And the blue is what we're considering to be previous development that's occurred in the past. Based on this aerial image. So this aerial image is from, I believe, 2023. And this depicts, at this point in time, 2 years ago, you know, where the clearing limits had been, where gravel had been that maybe since grew over. And we use that aerial to delineate the blue line, which is the limits of previous disturbance. So you can see the majority of the site, we're either matching or we're reducing limits of previous clearing that have been done. And the only exception is in this area back here. The green depicts new disturbance outside the area. That's going to be restoration activity, meaning a new specialty seed mix, something to that effect. And then the tan areas are new development that's either a stone or a pavement cover. This is the only pavement that's encroaching. And one thing to note is that this entire area here is caused by the fact that with the WPRD, we're very limited on stormwater management, and we need to have a retention pond in the back. And that's what creates that disturbance. So that's really the main thing. And just one thing to note in terms of the overall disturbance. The overall disturbance is 1.8 acres. Okay, so 76,000 square feet. As mentioned, because of the site geometry, 100% is within the upland review area. But of that total disturbance, of the 1.8 acres, 45% of that is for restoration work. So that's going to be removing gravel, removing pavement, etc., and putting in new topsoil, new seed mixes, new plantings, things of that nature, and removing those invasive plants. And of the total disturbance, only 4% of that 1.8 acres is actually occurring outside limits of previous disturbance. So although we're talking about, 1.8 acres, we're really talking about a 3,000 square foot impact beyond what's already been impacted out there. Just a important note there to kind of give you a scale of what we're talking about. And as mentioned, the WPRD is really what's driving the extra disturbance that we do need to do. Otherwise, we would have done a more traditional PMP method, and then we would have limited that disturbance to our site constraints more closely. And also in terms of direct wetland impact, we have 0 square feet of direct wetland impact. So only the upland review is being impacted here. So as mentioned, we do have the WPRD, which typically has a 100-foot non-disturbance area. However, in the regulations, we are allowed a 50-foot reduction, if the 100-foot area would result in a developable area of the property, to be 75% or less. So doing the calculation as defined in the regulations, a 100-foot offset would actually give us only a 19% developable lot area. So we are seeking obviously the 50-foot non-disturbance area. And just for some scale, again, on the limitations that we're up against here, even with the 50-foot reduction, we only have 54% developable lot area on this property. So that being said, the wetlands are depicted again in the same blue color. This dark blue thicker line, that's the 50-foot offset for the what we call the non-disturbance area for the regulations. The magenta is your new impervious surfaces, so that's our parking lot, driveways, things of that nature. Here's the existing dwelling, which is going to be remaining and converted to an office use. Just internal improvements only. And then we do have these two areas here are the new stormwater basins. And then another note, this also goes back to the original discussion I had earlier. You can see out here the clearing limit, so it doesn't show up as well here in the print, but the green line is going to be the surveyed limits of vegetation. So for example, right where my finger is today's tree line. You can see 2 years ago, it was way back here, right?
Mhm.
So although we're showing on the survey, technically we're doing land clearing, we're only clearing something that's already been cleared 2 years prior, in a sense, regrown with the bases. What this also depicts is that, again, similar to the first plan you saw, the limits of clearing are either matching or within inside previous limits of clearing, with again the exception of this area back here. Which again is related mostly to the stormwater basin. So we did the best we could to keep everything within the limits and meet the intent of the regulations, while also complying with zoning, wetlands, and WPRD simultaneously. So that's just what I wanted to show here. And now just going back to the initial discussion, again, of the 1.8 acres, only 26% of that disturbance is within the 50-foot area, the non-disturbance area. And 19% of that is within areas that have already been cleared in the past, as we indicated, for example, over here. And again, that 3,000 square feet is associated with that basin. So
Can you show on this map where that underground pipe goes?
yes, so that's roughly in this area back here.
Oh,
It's just
way
connected.
back there.
Yes, yep, so we're not gonna be touching that. We're not gonna be changing the grades over that. I'll show you later. We're gonna restore this area, so we're gonna, strip off 4 inches. Put back 4 inch topsoil, seed it with a native seed mix, restoration mix. But we're not gonna be touching that pipe, we're not gonna be exposing it any further, nothing like that, so. So moving on, just a quick overview. This isn't really too applicable, but I will just go over quickly. This is the site layout we're talking about. We're doing a single entry, single direction ingress drive. With that, we're gonna have standard parking stalls for passenger vehicles, for customers, employees, things like that. Visitors to the site for whatever reason. And the primary loop is gonna be only for the truck traffic associated with the business operations. We have 2 initial propane tanks, 30,000 gallons each. And a possible third in the future, which we permitted for, we include that in all of our calculations and everything like that conservatively. And then we have, just off to the side here, we have a stormwater basin. As well as the primary stormwater basin here, which I'll explain in more detail next. Just of this plan, the most applicable things are, we do have a note on the plan. Per the regulations of WPRD restricting use of sodium chloride for winter salting. And we do have a total impervious cover that is well below the maximum allowable 70%. We're at 25.5, so we're well underneath the impervious limits. We are noting the salt use restriction, and again, this just relates to the limits of disturbance that I showed earlier. So this is the grading and drainage plan. Basically, because we were limited on using any standard BMPs, we couldn't infiltrate, no permeable pavement, no pitching things off to the grass, no drainage trails that are connected to the pavement. Everything that's going to be vehicular traveled is curbed, and it's all pitched and drained into new inlet structures. The only permeable areas on the site are going to be areas where there's no vehicular traffic. So the lawn area up front, the lawn area over here, as well as the lawn area that we're storing back here. And we're gonna have basically 2 basins. This one only captures lawn area that's draining to it from here. The point of that is just to store some water quality volume. And to reduce the amount of runoff that's entering the parking lot from, from permeable clean areas. And this is the primary one that we're dealing with here, which is driven by the WPR. And this is to provide the water quality volume retention, as well as tertiary polishing as part of the treatment train, which I'll explain in a few minutes. So basically for actually I'll explain it right now, the treatment chain consists of primary treatment. All of our new instructions are gonna be, 4-foot deep sumps with trap hoods on the outlet pipes. That's gonna be for your coarse sediments, your floatables, your bags, stuff like that. Everything is piped to a single location, which ends up here, where we're gonna call our secondary treatment. And that's gonna be a hydrodynamic separator unit. So further capture of your TSS, your floatables, your oil capture as well. In the event of some kind of a failure of a vehicle, something like that, this actually also has oil storage capacity. During both wet or dry weather, it will retain that oil in the unit. And then our tertiary treatment will occur down here in the basin. That's gonna be an engineered soil mix with plantings, the seed mix in there. And that's gonna provide some of that phosphorus and nitrogen removal as the final polishing. And then it will all flow to the wetlands via a stable riprap level spread. Just real quick on the analysis, I have the data here if we'd like to get into it, but on a high level, these basins are both sized to retain in excess of the water quality volume, 1.3 inch rain event, for each of their respective capture areas, and as well as the site as a whole. We're providing the water quality volume. The wetlands themselves, we modeled both the eastern and wetlands as 2 points of concern. The reason for that is number one, is to make sure we're not vastly altering the wetlands, but the biggest thing is because we don't want to deal with this culvert having to resize it, exceed its capacity. So we broke it up into 2 halves where we analyzed this wetland area separately and this one as well. So as a whole, we know it's working, but on an individual basis, we also know it's working. And what I'm getting at with that is that up to the 100-year storm event, we have no increase in peak flow, no increase in volume to neither of those wetlands. And on the flip side of that, we don't have a massive loss of volume either, right? So we're not drying them up, we're not inundating them, and we're not increasing the peak flow. And then just one thing on the treatment unit, the stormwater treatment unit, that was all sized in accordance with the manufacturer. I worked with them directly on that. We did a hydraulic analysis for the outlet pipe and how that relates to the system, as well as the system itself. So that's been adequately sized, and that's going to be able to treat everything it needs to treat.
What's the depth in the basin?
The basin itself, so the bottom is 105. Up at the spillway itself, the top of level spur is 107.5. So you're looking at a 2.5 foot normal ponding depth. And then we basically have an extra 3 feet of freeboard. But the modeling suggests even in the 100-year storm, you're only passing a 4-inch flow over that level spread. So more than enough freeboard.
A lot of gravel substrate there.
No gravel. It's going to be, I have a detail I can show later. We're going to be doing a engineered soil media with sand and soil mixture. That's going to be basically your bedding material for the seed mix and stuff like that. So yeah, no gravel down there. That's going to be a infiltration and a biofiltration method. So. Great. So of course, protection of the wetlands is also important. So just have an ENS plan, erosion sediment control, your standard things. Primarily the biggest thing to your concern probably is the perimeter controls. So around the entire perimeter of the site, we've got silt fence and straw wattle. And then just throughout the site, we have our other standard controls. We have our inlet protection, our construction entrances, our control erosion blankets, our dedicated secure stockpile areas, our check dams, etc. We also have notes, again, of interest to you guys here tonight. We have spill contingency notes, just for a contractor to be aware of, make sure they're prepared to handle any spill that may occur by accident and prevent any contamination. We have an ENS narrative, and then we also made sure that everything is in performance with the 2024 ENS guidelines as any project should be.
You see the silt fence, black fence with dirt piled on the bottom of it.
Yeah.
You've seen that before on sites. This site is just about level. And much of it is already developed with various pavements, gravel pads, all kinds of stuff. It's not, there's no vegetation anywhere there. maybe a few things that have come up in the last 20 years, but if it was a steeper one, you might want to have the silt fence backed up by hay bales, which are staked down. If it was steeper, but this one would not be necessary at all.
Okay.
We just put the walls to catch a little bit of that coarser sediment, help minimize maintenance on the silt fence, but yeah, that's a good point. So,
Mm.
yeah, for the site, we believe it's really sufficient, so.
We have a new member and
Oh, no, absolutely.
I'm moving her along.
Mm.
Thank you.
And ENS is erosion and sedimentation.
Okay.
And then what's really gonna kind of paint the picture here is the landscape plan. So all those percentages, all those areas, all the talk about restoration, this is kind of what really depicts that. So up front, we just have some deciduous trees, just that's the standard zoning requirement for your streetscape landscaping. Within the site itself, this is just general lawn, so this is just be regular maintained lawn along the front edge just to give a nice appearance outside the public fence. But then everything inside the fence here, all of this dotted hatching, this is all gonna be a restoration seed mix. And then these areas here is gonna be a wetland planting mix. Being that those are the basins, it's gonna be, vegetation that's able to grow in wet conditions and it thrives in those conditions. And then you can also see here along the western side, we have numerous native plantings. To kind of provide a buffer between the new construction and the existing tree line, just to give, restore that invasive stuff that we cleared with new native things that'll propagate and, take off over time. And we've also put some plantings on the eastern side as well, just to kind of fill that in and give some more buffer in addition just to seed mix. So that's really the biggest thing here. And then just because the question was asked.
So the main part of that is gonna remain with that gravel?
No, so for example, back here, this all used to be the gravel.
Yeah,
This is all gonna be completely reseeded, so
Yeah.
anywhere where you see these dots, that's all
Yeah.
grass seed atop.
yeah, I know about that. I'm just wondering where the trucks come in. Is that gonna be a permeable or?
Oh, that's all gonna be asphalt.
It's gonna
So
be
regular
asphalt, okay.
non-permeable. That's all.
Right.
Drainage system. comes
Okay,
in.
so that whole area that is not cross-hatched?
Yeah.
Or, yeah, and then a propane tank sitting on concrete, is that something different or
That's gonna be crushed stone,
that's, okay,
so that's
Got it.
permeable, but that's
Yeah.
non-vehicular area. so
Yeah,
that's a
got it.
clean Area.
okay,
So that would just be crushed stone, it's good for maintenance, but it's not a permeable surface.
right.
And then just lastly, I'll just touch on the details because it was asked here. I won't go through all of them, but this is the enhanced basin that we're talking about. So basically, we're gonna, box it out down to subgrade. And then we're gonna put in a 12-inch depth, basically a mixture of sand, topsoil, and organic material. And that's gonna be seeded with that wetland planting mix.
Hmm.
And then we have over here, we have the breakdown of what that mix includes, so that the species are included in that mix. You may have already seen that, but basically it's a mixture of grasses and native other plants, things like flower and things that will be some of that. So.
Okay.
And just in conclusion, I think really balancing the site use, the need for a developable lot. With the wetlands constraints, with the upland review and with the WPRD. We've really done everything we can to minimize disturbances. And maximize compliance, but also give our client a usable site, so. With that, I'll take any questions that you have.
Questions? No, I think we,
Good use of
no,
it.
as I said,
Yeah.
this lot. First of all, it was
It's a mess.
used heavily in the long past.
Let's get
And it's all
it.
gravel, mixed gravel, concrete patches, things like that. It's not, there's no natural areas until you get way in the back.
It's been neglected.
So, we would be more understanding of the
Proposal.
disturbance zone
Yeah.
because it's already disturbed, very disturbed. So that's why, we wouldn't be asking a lot of questions about what's happening in the zone, because we went out and site walked this. And it's
Okay.
it's
A lot
heavily.
of briars.
They used to sell trailers out of there a number of years ago. But okay. Now, any questions? No? Knew you had that.
Of course.
I think it's an improvement, really.
Thank you.
Were you reading? something?
Yeah, make a motion to approve Inland Wetlands Agency 25-0007 propane distribution facility at 1387 Gold Star Highway for the regulated activity of excavation, grading, and construction within the 200-foot upland review area shown on the approved plan. Activity is associated with the development of a new propane distribution facility. So we've made the motion. This permit is subject to the 4 standard conditions.
That is 3 supplemental ones there.
Those are
yeah,
findings. Yep.
oh, there, yeah, the findings.
Yeah.
1, there will be no adverse environmental impact on the wetlands. 2, the erosion and sediment control plan will provide adequate protection for the wetlands during construction. And 3, upland restoration will result in the enhancement of 35,278 square feet of native plant communities.
All right. We have a second
Second it.
discussion? No? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Have a good evening.
I appreciated the thoroughness of the plans. I looked on them online before. You know, the plans were very thorough and helpful.
Thank you, appreciate that. My goal.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're down to Jones Residence, 183 Oslo Street. Thank you very much.
Hmm.
Welcome to-
Hmm.
Thank you for your-
Hmm.
We did a site walk in this one also.
I think I missed that.
Fine.
Good evening, my name is Bob Russo. I'm a certified soil scientist with CLA Engineers in Norwich, Connecticut, here on behalf of the applicant. I just want to pass on regrets that the engineer, Bob DeLuca, could not be here today. His wife needed a procedure this afternoon,
Hmm.
and so he's
Oh, dear.
absent. But I will be happy to go over changes to the plans and additional information that's come in since the last meeting and since the site walk. First, I'd like to just indicate that the owner and the builder are here. If there are specific questions for them as well, I know they'd be happy to answer them. At the last meeting, one of the questions was about the septic and if Ledgelight had approved it or not. And in the interim, Ledgelight provided comments. We responded to the comments, and Ledgelight has approved the system on the location you see here. I do want to indicate that because you may notice we're only showing the primary septic system here, not the location of a reserve system. Ledgelight said that a reserve didn't need to be shown on here. And this is interesting because they could count the availability of sewer out in the street as a reserve. So we're taking that off of the plans. We're not showing a reserve system there. Not that that reserve system was ever going to be built anyway. You know, the primary system, which you all got to, or those of you that were on the walk got to see, is where the septic system will be built, is proposed for it to be built. So
It's an engineered system.
it's an engineered system.
That means that the ground is built up as opposed to burying it under the ground.
Okay.
This galleries, they're some kind of material that goes and the sewage flows through there. and then is percolated into the ground, and then there's soil on top. You typically in a yard, they're buried in the ground in the yard. Here, there's a lot of rock, so they're gonna build the ground up.
Will actually be
Mm.
built up.
Yeah.
And just continuing on that note, another question that came up during the field walk, and we actually walked to the location of the existing system that I'm indicating here on plain sheet one,
Mhm.
which is a cesspool.
Right.
And no longer something that would be approvable
Right.
by Ledgeway
Hmm.
Health District or any health district in Connecticut. That existing cesspool, you can see it's a little over 30 feet away from the edge of the wetland. We know there's a lot of ledge around here, so I suspect it's not doing a great job right now. It's a good thing it will be replaced
Hmm.
with a new system. There were questions during the walk about what would happen with that. And on the plans now, there's a call out to say that it has to be abandoned per the health code. And what that means is essentially pumping it out. Pumping any of the pipes out as well. Filling it with clean fill and topsoil and seed on top. And we've added that note to the plans to indicate that that will be abandoned. As well, there were questions about the existing house.
Yes.
The septic system will be disconnected. The existing house will essentially serve as a greenhouse and a shed. It's not going to be an occupiable building. It'll be a utility building on the site. That's also noted on the plans. And as we were walking the site and looking at the plans, previously we had a stockpile location here. What I'm indicating is somewhat east of the house and was within the upland review area. We've actually moved the stockpile location. It's still within the upland review area. It's upslope of the proposed septic system, but it's a smaller location and it's further away from the wetland. We think the soil stockpile is now in a safer, better place. We're also showing a footing drain for the house. I'm indicating it here. It will come out of the house and run in the direction of the wetland. To allow that groundwater. There'll probably be some seasonal groundwater discharge that'll come out of that footing drain. We added an erosion and sedimentation control narrative to the plans as well. That was another request, I think, of staff. And I'm just going to flip to the second sheet in the set to show you the narrative. As you probably remember, there were already erosion and sedimentation controls specified, but we've added a narrative requesting, requiring the developer to actually have the town staff out for inspections prior to anything else beginning out there, prior to any soil moving going on, and as well instructions for installation of the different ENS measures that we show up here. The other questions I think that were asked at the last meeting that I'd like to address. And would just like to point out, first of all, the location of the septic. It is, as we said in the field, 55 feet away from the edge of the wetland. If you remember walking the site, there really are ledge outcrops all over this site. And I'm indicating some of them here. Based on the soil testing, this is the place where the system's actually going to work. In order to put in a septic system, you need to have a certain depth above ledge, and you need a certain depth above other restrictive features like reductimorphic features modeling. And so based on the soil testing, this is the spot on the site that's going to work. It's a pretty challenging site for a septic system. And again, Ledge Light gave us comments. We made edits on the plan and they have since approved. In terms of the house location, there's an awful lot of this site that you can see that's within the upland review zone. A little bit of the existing houses within the upland review zone. Based on my review of what our activities are proposed here, we're not creating a lot of impervious surface, really just a house and a deck. I don't think that we're going to generate any significant amount of runoff that could affect the wetland. We are going to be maintaining existing vegetation in place out there. So I don't see any sort of sediment or toxicant loading going to the wetlands or destabilization of the wetland edge and erosion. So I really don't think we're gonna have, we're not calling for any direct impact on the wetlands. And I think if the erosion sedimentation control is properly installed and maintained, we won't have any impacts on the wetlands.
Could you just point out again, the upland review line
Yes.
near the house?
Green dash line, starting over on the east side. You can see the edge of the wetland. The upland review line cutting through the existing house, coming over. And now we're cutting through the proposed house as well. And here's the proposed septic system, which is of course,
Mhm.
absolutely entirely within the upland proposal.
And would there be a problem with pulling the house back towards the driveway away from the wetlands?
There's not much more.
Space.
I mean, we're trying to leave them a workable driveway here.
Mhm.
I don't know that you could pull it back in a way that would offer less impact to wetland. I think we're already at a point where we're not actually going to impact the wetland here.
Instead of having a full basement?
It would have a walkout basement, I believe, just check it. Putting a walkout basement, right?
Is the deck elevated? It's not on the ground?
Yes. Thank you.
This site
Yeah.
is all open now. There's no, tree cover in this area or anything like that. It's all grass and rock.
So it's already got an existing house
Yeah,
there.
there is an existing house that's right
Mhm.
here. And again, the existing septic system, which is accessible over here.
Was there ever any consideration about using that footprint from the house that's there
The
or?
tough part about this is that there's ledge here as well.
Okay,
And on this side of the site, it's shallower ledge, so if you were to try to do something here. Putting a new septic system in on this side of the site really
Couldn't
wouldn't
do
work.
it.
There's so shallow ledge.
yeah,
I'm. I'm not liking the current cesspool that's out there in terms of,
no,
it's probably sitting on ledge right now. And its function is probably not very good.
Mm.
Yeah.
You said you're putting in a footing drain from this house?
Yes,
It looks like this is up, is this uphill?
no, that's down.
Downhill, oh, okay.
The footing drain, it's shown right, let me show it more clearly. Coming off of the corner of the house, running right up here where the footing.
it's
drain is.
really
okay.
down
So
too,
really-
Art.
Okay,
The footing drain buried next to the foundation, it carries groundwater away.
Yeah,
That's what it's still trying to keep it from having a wet basement.
yes,
Yeah.
important.
Challenging site.
It is a challenge, yeah.
Have we classified this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Have any more questions on? You have. Motion? I do.
just ripping through them tonight.
Oh, yeah, yeah, so sorry.
He's passing them. Keep it down there. Thank you.
Okay. Make a motion to approve Inland Wetlands Agency 25-008 Jones resident at 183 Oslo Street. For disturbance within the 100-foot upland review area associated with the construction of a new single-family house with deck, installation of a septic system suitable for a 4-bedroom home with one primary leaching system and associated site grading. One, there is no loss of wetland or water course associated with this application. 2, the erosion and sediment control plan will provide adequate protection for the wetlands during construction. This permit is subject to the four standard conditions and the following modifications. One, no clearing, alterations, or dumping of materials shall occur within the upland review area that is not specified on the approved plans. Two, the limits of disturbance shall be marked in the field and inspected by town staff prior to the start of construction.
All right, before we go, I have one question. And that is, Deb, do you think the lower edge silt fence need to be backed to the ground?
I'm gonna let Bryce in, this was his project.
So the question is you
Does
want it backed by
pay
a
the
bill? I believe the erosion sediment control narrative specifies that that's an option. Yeah. Add that.
All right. That would be good. then.
Yeah.
All right,
That
all
is-
those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. Good.
Okay, good luck.
Good luck.
We're gonna need it.
Onward, my goodness.
Yeah. Is Commerce Park ready?
No, LBI has consented to an extension. We're waiting revised plans.
Okay, I kind of expected that.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
The
Wolf-
sidewalk near there is all done. I mean, it's decided on.
That's on Flanders Road. This one, this one already has a sidewalk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we walked, yeah.
Yeah.
Wolfbrook Forest Management.
There's Tabitha.
Yes, Tabitha,
Hi, Tabitha.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I just had to mute it because there's a train that goes by, so I want to make sure. Quiet. I'm here tonight to talk about the forest management plan for Parks and Recreation. I am the manager for Parks and Open Spaces, which is one of the 4 divisions under the Department of Parks and Recreation. So I have some slides that I'll just kind of briefly go over some summary, and then we can talk about feedback. So if I can share yes, I can. There it is. Can you see that?
Yes, we can see that.
Okay. So as I mentioned, this is the draft forest management plan for the Wolfbrook property. Oh, what am I doing? Yeah. I can't control oh, okay. Sorry about that. The Wolfbrook property, as you may know, is about 186 acres. It's just west of Pequot Woods. So this is showing the relationship between Wolfbrook and Pequot Woods. And notes the property is made up of several parcels. So that's just to orient you. And the plan overview is that it's a final draft of the forest management plan prepared by a certified forester, who's Josh Miller. And unfortunately, Josh couldn't make it tonight. I really did want him to make it, but he was busy, tied up. So
Make it louder.
I'm sorry, what's that?
It's very mushy.
Yeah, we just need to turn up the volume a little bit for them to hear.
Sorry.
Let's see. Or maybe here.
Yeah.
Try that one.
Oh,
that's-
yeah,
that's
we've
really
got
low.
options. Okay, go ahead, Tabitha.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
that's right.
There we go.
Okay, so we developed the plan to explore some land and forest management options for the Parks and Recreation Department. Because right now it's unprogrammed. It is open to the public, but it's unprogrammed. And then we're also doing a separate biological study that's underway with Sigrid Godwa. She's a well-known naturalist in the area, and that is expected to be completed towards the end of fall. And really, there's no current scheduled permittable activities coming out of this just yet, but there may be in the future, and I'll talk about it. So primary goals of the study are to understand the unique ecological features within the property and look for ways to improve the access. So potential for parking might be on No Engledged Road, discourage encroachments and unauthorized use. So we have some dumping, we have a teepee, we have, things like that.
I saw that. Oh, my God.
Yeah. We want to protect the wetland and cultural resources, of course, control the invasive species, enhance the habitat, potentially through selective silviculture, which is the timber harvesting, and then supporting passive recreation. So some of the fun key ecological features you might like to see are that it has 60+ acres of wetlands and red maple swamp. Vernal pools have rare species, including a wood turtle and featherfoil. Featherfoil I've never heard of. It's a beautiful plant. It's an aquatic plant. And then mature oak, tulip poplar, black birch, and mid-successional hardwoods, which the plan describes. And then some other considerations for you as wetland managers are that no forestry or land management has been planned in the wetlands. Invasive plant control is going to be done by hand only. We want to be very careful about spreading that around. 2 temporary stream crossings are proposed for future use, so that may come before you. And then buffers and BMPs will be put in place, according to your guidance, for parking trails and vernal pools, and may require your review. So right now we're just collecting feedback on the plan. We're looking for anything you have to say about it. And then we're also going to be going to Conservation Commission, and we have some other stakeholders to the plan, user groups that we've been working with. And then from there, we'll be finalizing it and then determining how we're going to use the site, who's going to be using the site, and basically permitting those projects. So I think that sums it up. So that's what I just said. So I can stop share. And if you have any questions at this time or comments, I'd really love to hear it.
I don't actually. I think it's great that you're doing this,
Seems
So
very
the-
comprehensive.
Yeah,
The full plan was in your packet.
yeah, I
so-
read it,
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah, actually, so,
It's amazing.
so if you do have any comments, you can forward it on to us and we'll get it to town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right,
Yes,
thank you.
please do. Thank you.
yeah, okay.
I wish I had seen you in person. It's nice to see you
Yeah.
all in video.
Yeah. Too.
Bye.
Bye.
Tabitha,
Take
too.
it, Tabitha.
She used to be a secretary here taking
Oh,
the
no,
notes.
no, she was a planner here.
A planner, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Sounds interesting.
Yeah,
Yes,
great.
We see some permitting.
Yeah.
Or at least.
Always nice to
jurisdiction.
see some open space. Yeah,
What are the odds it's gonna happen?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think it will.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So there's more
Funding.
people interested in this to volunteer for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And looking for parking, especially because
Yeah.
right now it's not really easily.
Yeah, I'm
accessible.
trying to even
Right.
feel where it is on, but I'll figure it out. Is it near the farm?
It's across from Daniel Brown Drive.
Oh,
On No Ledger.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh.
mean, a long
Okay.
time ago, you had permitted an age-restricted community there.
Right.
Oh,
Called-
gosh, I don't
Yeah,
remember
that
that,
was
but
that
yeah,
was quite a while ago.
okay,
Yeah,
all right, that helps, I'll look.
And this is much better.
well, it's
Yes.
not an age-restricted community,
Yes.
that's for
Yeah.
sure, so.
Yeah,
All right. I don't really have anything that I've noticed going on. You have anything, Deb?
I don't think so. You guys
No?
have anything?
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
It's your turn, Barb.
Second it.
There you go.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed. All right, we're done.
All right.
There's a Wolfbrook property group